Hey, welcome to Tabletop Skirmish Games. I'm Lee, and in this video we'll be taking a look at the Tome of Champions 2021. Here we go, the WARCRY Tome of Champions 2021, and just a couple of months later than we would have expected it, but really happy to have it here, and I've got to say, it's really good. So in this video, we're going to go right through it, do a flick through of the whole book, just pick out some key areas that I think are really interesting and a good addition to the book, and then give you my overall opinion of it. And then what I'm going to do is just do a few extra videos after this, diving into a few of the sections, because there's quite a lot of information in here and some things I think we can spend a bit more time on. But this video is really just an overview, a flick through and a review. On the cover art, you can see we're really going for this tarantulas brood look, and so following on from Red Harvest. So great aesthetic again, as we would expect from WARCRY, so it's really keeping to the theme. And then on the back we've got the little photo there of Red Harvest, so definitely building on that. Altogether, this book is going to be 153 pages, and it's got some great content. It tells us here on the back that it's going to have additional rules for WARCRY, and that's going to cover open play, narrative play, match play and more. And it also provides all the rules so that we can field our miniatures from the Warhammer Underworlds game in WARCRY, and these are known as the Bladeborn fighters, and that's a really great addition to this. There's also some updates for the points for different factions and loads of other things like campaign play as well. So there's certainly a lot going on with this, and can't wait to get started and go through it. So let's have a look at the contents. So opening up, we've got our contents page here, and so we're going to get the rules update, the new points values, then we're going to see open play and narrative play, and then look at all this. We get loads of branching quests, fated quests, narrative campaigns, and in here we're going to see some one-player narrative campaigns as well, which I think is a brilliant way to get going with WARCRY. If you haven't got anyone to play against, you need some solo rules, and I think the rules in here are really fun. Then we got more match play. Then the appendix, we're going to get the printed versions of the free PDFs for the Lumineth Realm Lords, Soulblight Gravelords, Thunderstrike, Stormcast and the Cruel Boys. So if you haven't got those already downloaded as a PDF, or even if you have, it's great to have them in print now. And then from 120 to page 153, we're going to get all the stats and abilities, fighter cards for the Bladeborn fighters. So this is really good, and a huge section, a fifth of the book pretty much, and I think it's brilliant for WARCRY. This is going to really give it another boost that I think is needed, and really happy that they've included this in the book. So there's the contents. Now let's start flicking through and checking it all out. So we get our usual introduction as we see on all the Warhammer books, and then Wrath and Ruin, more of an intro to it. This all builds on the previous books, like the supplement books for the different factions or the different grand alliances. So we got Harbingers of Destruction, Bringers of Death, Agents of Chaos and Sentinels of Order. So this will work in conjunction with those books. Certainly for the updates, you're going to be looking at the abilities from these, and then just using the points updates for the different fighters and then putting those into the book so you're up to date. Of course, you don't have to do that. If you just play for fun with your group or at home, then you don't even have to use the updated points. But I'm going to. I think it's nice to do it and just keep it up to date with the changes that they make for the game. And then here we're going to start on the rules update. So now we've got some different rune marks here for destruction, death, chaos, order, and then that's going to include cities of Sigmar. So it's just updating us with this now to bring in the tarantulas brood, the Dark Oath savages, and just keeping everything nice and organised. And I've got to say, the print quality on this book is fantastic, really crisp. I love the colours they've gone with. These, even just these little sections here, really stand out and are vibrant, and it's a nice book to read through and look at. We've got some updates to campaign rules and how we earn our glory points. We're going to look at reinforcements and lesser artifacts. So a few changes there. And again, I'm going to go into detail about lots of different sections from this book, because I think there's so much to go through that it definitely needs a few videos to accompany this one. Then this is one I can't wait to do a video for. This is the points values for all the different fighters. Now, they're not all going to be updated. You'll see that some of these have got an asterisk next to their name. And if they have that asterisk, that means that they've been updated in points. So you can see some, like the Cities of Sigmar Darkling Coven's leaders, have all been updated, while there's others just a few. And so there we go. But quite a lot of them have. Here, the Caradon Overlords, almost everyone has had an update. So yeah, and there's quite a few pages of this to go through. We're still just on the Grand Alliance of Order here. So lots of changes. Agents of Chaos, 4 pages for them. Even the original Warcry warbands are getting an update. The Splintered Fang has had a lot of changes made, so really important to note that. Bringers of Death, Harbingers of Destruction. So that's going to cover all the points updates. This is a really big section of this book. Now we're on to open play, and so in this section it tells us we're going to find the expanded Coalition of Death rules, which are going to bring in the siege battles, and these siege battles allow teams of warbands to join forces to seize or defend a chaos settlement of Karngrad. This is great fun. I love the Warhammer community article that introduced us to this, and a great section in this book. So I'll do another video about this later on so we can really go into detail about it. But it looks awesome. I think this is going to be really good fun. And if you play in a group, it's going to be even better. So this is going to give us everything what we need, how to include it in a campaign, setting the battle elsewhere. So you can use these rules to set up the siege battle anywhere you like. You're going to earn glory points by doing different tasks throughout that battle. Then it's got the scenario for the siege of Karngrad, and look at the size of the battle. This is really interesting. For the attacker's points limit, it's 2,000 for a small battle, 3,000 for a medium, but 4,000 for large. So these are some big point values for Warcry. So this is going to be really fun to have different warbands coming together to make up these points limits and then go against this siege wall. So you can see how fun this could be just from looking at how many models you could get on the table. And if you've got a number of players, this is just going to be great fun. Then as we flick over, now we're on to narrative play. And here we're going to get 6 new narrative campaigns to play out. And so this is really cool. So if you like the narrative side of things, which I do, I think that's the big feature of Warcry, then this section is going to be really fun. And it carries on with these branching quests that we saw with Red Harvest. So we can get to choose the different convergences and the direction we take our battles in. So this is really fun. So you're going to get loads here to go through, 6 altogether, with all the convergences to choose from. So yeah, love this. More of this, please. This would be great. Keep these coming. So yeah, you can see you've got 6 to choose. But this book is just packed with different quests you can go on. And I think it'll be fun to take some of these in detail as well and work through them. I really, really want to do battle reports. I've got to get to a point where I can devote that much time to it, because it does take a long time to do the battle reports. And so I'm just working on some ideas that hopefully I can get this going. It won't just be for Warcry, it'll be for some of the other games as well. And I want to do it regularly, but yeah, it'll take a little while to get there. But back to the book, let's have a look at fated quests next. So here we're going to get some fated quests we can play on, and it's got all the details. There's going to be battle plan cards, new command traits, and so all that's going to be included in here. And this is the usual layout that you'll be used to, certainly from the previous Tome of Champions and the core book as well, and also from the Grand Alliance books. So yeah, and it's nice to see, as we flick back here, that they're including catacombs still as well. So it's keeping that nice and fresh, which is good. Then we've got our Spoils of Victory. Now we're on to narrative campaigns again. And so here we're going to get some narrative campaigns we can play, and some of these you can play with just like one player. So if you like the idea of solo play, something like the Rat Hunters is going to be a good one for you. So here, I mean, you just see it's just so much in here, so much gameplay. And if you've picked up any of the other Tome of Champions, just having these Tome of Champion books will give you enough gameplay for months. It's fantastic, the amount of content that's included. And it's really nice to see that they're doing that here as well. Now, you may have seen these before as part of the free downloads, the PDFs. So these are going to be very similar to that. And they're including like specific fighter cards for characters that will feature in these battles, like the Chariot as well. And so this is nice if you want to apply the Chariot fighter card maybe to one of the other factions. You can just steal the stats from this and apply it to it, like the new one for the Stormcast Eternals. So there's that one. Another one here, again, including those characters. The Depths of Ceylontum. I want to try and get to the Rat Hunters. Here we go. So this is a narrative campaign for 1 or 2 players, and each player musters a warband of mercenaries hired by the powers of Excelsis to rid the city of its Skaven infestation. And in this campaign, rather than battling against each other, the warbands team up to battle hordes of Skaven called the Vermintide, and they are controlled by the game. So we're going to get some in-game AI mechanics here, which is going to allow you to play solo. And I think we can take that and apply it to other campaigns as well, not just for this one. So this is going to almost be a template that we can use, build on, and like make up our own battles with in the future. So this is really interesting. And this section, this Rat Hunters, I'm definitely going to do a video for, because I really want to go into detail about this behavior table and the abilities and just how the AI works to control the rats in this game. And I'm sure we can apply that to other characters, just maybe tweak the stats a little bit. I don't know, but we'll wait and see. But definitely want to play this out, because I think this is going to be really fun. I think there's a lot of us who play solo, so this is really going to be appealing, I think. And then we've got another one, a Fool's Trove in Ulfenkarn. Again, you might recognise some of this from what you've seen from the free PDFs. The War of the Morrock Hills. So some really nice environments to do battle in here. And now we're on to matched play. This match play section is going to give you all the new pitched battle scenarios, and these are designed for tournament play. So if you play like narrative tournaments, then these are going to be for you. I don't, so I probably won't use this section much, but it's still good to read through and take some ideas for battles and things like that from. So yeah, but if you're into tournament or more structured play, you've got a group maybe that you play each week, then this is going to be really interesting for you. And so yeah, really nice. You get some artifact of power there, some new cards, lots of hidden agendas to look through. So yeah, that's a nice little section there. Then we're on to the appendix. Now we're going to find rules, tables and background tables for the Thunderstrike Stormcast, the Lumineth Realm Lords, Soulblight Gravelords, and the Cruel Boys. So these came out as PDFs, and I haven't checked against those PDFs to see if these have been updated yet. But this was a great one. To get some more of the Lumineth was really good, because they only had a page, I believe, in the Grand Alliance book. And so this is nice. They also didn't have that many abilities. So getting them more in line with the other warbands is a great move, because I think these are really interesting models and would make a really nice warband if you can mix them up. I don't like the idea of having like 5 to 8 of the same fighter. I like to mix it up, so having this variety is really nice. So there we go, you can see we've got some extra ones there. We've also got the naming tables, the origin and background tables as well. So this is brilliant. Then we've got the Soulblight Gravelords. That's all up to date now. Really nice. And again, the tables that we need. Same for the Stormcast. I don't know if they've included the Chariot in here. No, so this is probably much like that PDF, not much different there. But if you wanted to use the stats that we went through earlier, you could certainly apply them to that Stormcast Chariot and create a battle around it. That would be no problem. And I did that for my Patreons actually a long while ago, when that Chariot was released. Then we got the tables. Cruel Boys, going to get all those in there. So if you picked up the Dominion box set, all these fighter cards and abilities for the Stormcast and Cruel Boys are really going to bring that set to life in Warcry now. And now we're on to the Bladeborn Fighters. And this, for me, is a brilliant move. Having all these Underworlds characters now available with official fighter cards and abilities is fantastic. And I did a lot of cards for my Patreon over the past few months for the Underworlds characters, but having the official ones now for all of them is brilliant. Now, it's not going to have the most up-to-date ones, so the most recent ones won't be included here, but I'm sure they're going to do some articles to bring those into the game. I can't imagine they would just ignore them or wait until the next tome. Maybe, I don't know, let's wait and see. But I think we've got enough here to get excited about. We don't need those anyway. We can certainly wait for that. So let's have a look through this section. And again, I'm going to do another video on this, because this is a really important update for the game. Bladeborn was released as a separate game, and you got 2 really nice warbands from Underworlds. And what that did is unlocked the idea of playing Underworlds warbands in the rule set of Warcry. And I didn't get the game, but I hear some great things about it. And yeah, really interesting. But now that's allowed them to open up all the miniatures for Warcry. So this is a really good section. So we're going to get all the faction rune marks. We're going to get how to include them in our games. So all the rules here are going to tell us how to do that. We've got the rune marks representing the different grand alliances, and then it's split the underworld's warbands into those grand alliances. So for order, we're going to get 11 altogether. Chaos is going to get 9. Death is 5. Destruction is going to get 8. And so, yeah, lots of choice here. Whichever faction you play, you're going to have some really cool models to include now, and the abilities as well are going to be really interesting. So here you can see the layout of how they do it. So you're going to get just a very brief introduction. You're going to get the fighter cards for all the models included in the warband, and then they're going to give you an ability, which in this case is for the leader. But as you can see here, this isn't for the leader. So it's not going to be just one ability for the leader miniature. It could be one for any with the Bladeborn rune mark. So really good. And when you include them in the faction, it tells you how you can use the other abilities in that faction as well. So for example, we've got the Fire Slayer's rune mark there as well. And this rune mark here and here is the Bladeborn rune mark. So they're going to get access to the Fire Slayer abilities, but also this specific one too. So really cool. Now some of these you can only include once, but there's going to be others as we flick through where there'll be a little note that tells you can include more than one of them. So let's find an example of that as we flick through. But you can see, you know, some of these warbands have only got 3 fighters, whereas others have got 4, 5, maybe even more than that. Like here we've got 6. So if you add the points up, you're not going to get a full 1,000 from this, but some of them come pretty close. And as I do a separate video and we go into more detail, you'll see some examples of that. And I'll also put together some ideas of how we can include them in warbands, but also build warbands around these. So I think that would be interesting. Here you can see we've got 6. That one's no points. What's that about? Need to check that out. So yeah, so most of them you're going to be including like 1 of each. And where's that one? This one's got 7 in. So if you play Flesh Eater Courts, you're getting quite a lot, but the points are low. So here we are. Special rule for Nighthorn. So you can include this fighter up to 4 times in your warband or roster instead of only once. So you can have 4 of those and then 1 each of those. Now this is going to be, what's that? 435 and then 360, so 795. You can get 795 points potentially from this Nighthorn Thorns of the Briar Queen warband, and they're a fantastic set of miniatures. In fact, they're one of my favourite from the whole Underworlds range. I think they've got a really cool story. Each character has got its own background, and they're really good to add to WARCRY. I've been using them in WARCRY before because they're such unique characters. So instead of having all the same looking characters, which you can get from Nighthorn, it's really cool to have these individual ones. I think they're fantastic. So this is really good that we can get that many points from this. And I think you could just play a game of WARCRY for 800 points each and then use just these. And I really like that they've done that. And so there we go. So I think you've got another one here for the sepulchral, I can never say that, guard. You're going to be able to include 2 of those in there. So you can have 2 of those in there. So that gives you access to all the miniatures included in that set. And it's really great. They've gone right back to the beginning, to Shadespire, to use these warbands from the previous games of Underworld. So really nice. And then right up to the Soulblight Gravelords ones as well. And then the Gloomspite Gitz. Here's a good one. This is one of my favourite too. Zarbag Gitz is fantastic. You can have up to 2 of the squigs, and you can have up to 3 of the shooters. So this is going to give you a load of points. So I think you could... I haven't added this one up. I'm not going to do that. There's loads of numbers going on here. But I think this is going to be close to 1,000, maybe even more than 1,000. So there's one you could just literally buy for £15. Just get the models. No Underworlds cards. You've got yourself a warband and a fun one, because the Gloomspite Gitz are awesome. And I've got quite a few of these models now set back to open, unbox and build, and I was thinking of doing an Age of Sigmar challenge where I put together maybe 1,000 or 2,000 point army of Gloomspite Gitz with what I've got, and then using the new subscription that's coming out, the Stormbringer subscription magazine. We're going to get some more Gloomspite Gitz included in that. So yeah, I think that's a good way to go. But I definitely want to showcase Zarbag's Gitz because I think they're really fun. So I might do a video just on that. But if there's a warband you think would make a good video that we can see from these Underworld sections, let me know, and then I'll add that to the list too. but there's lots to choose from. Really great fun. And there we go. So that brings us to the end of the book. They put this last one on the actual hardback, not hardback, like thick cover. And so that's a bit of a weird move. I'd like to see it on a page. That's my only criticism of this book, actually, that they've just printed this on the back cover. So that's a little bit odd. It almost seems like an abrupt way to end the book. It's like you just work through, that's it, finished. Yeah, I'd like to see maybe something just to end the book a little bit more subtly, but otherwise fantastic. And how cool is that, to have all these new fighter cards just given to us to play for Warcry. Last year was great. We got all the Grand Alliance, which opened up all of Age of Sigmar, but I think I'm pretty more excited about this, because these are more interesting, more quirky, more specific. They're individual characters, which I think when you're playing Warcry is really fun, because you end up just naming, or I do end up just naming the miniatures in my own warband from Age of Sigmar, certainly, to personalise it and give it more character. But this does a lot of that work for you, so I really like that. So they've even all got a backstory already that you can draw from and use. So really great addition to this book. I'm really happy they did that. So that brings us to the end of the book, and I think there's a lot to delve into here. This will just be a flick through, an overview, and I'm definitely going to do a lot more videos of this. So if you're into Warcry, this week is going to be for you, as I'll be doing loads of videos from this book. I'd love to know what you think about the Tome of Champions 2021. Have you picked up a copy yet? If so, what's your favourite part about it? Let me know in the comments section below. And if there's something from the book you'd like me to cover this week, add that in the comments too, and then I'll add it to the list. And if I can, I certainly will. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope it gave you a good overview of what's included in the book, and I can certainly recommend picking this up if you're looking to add some more quests to your game, you play in a group or you play on your own. I think this is going to have something for you, so I can highly recommend it. But thanks so much for watching. Please like if you did like it, subscribe for more videos like this, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you can keep up to date with all the videos that I'm going to bring out for this coming week ahead. I'd like to say a huge thank you to my Patreon supporters who make these daily videos possible, and if you're interested in joining the community, it'd be awesome to see you there, and I'll put a link for that in the description down below.